Samir Garati here for Earth Faith, both the Earth Based Records and the Earth Faith YouTube channel participating. This is a celebration of All Saints' Day. This holiday in the Catholic tradition and many Protestant traditions is celebrated on November the 1st, also known as All Hallows Day, and Halloween, the secular holiday known as, basically All Hallows Eve. And then November 1st, also known as Dios de los Myrtrs, celebrating the martyrs of the Christian faith. And when we talk about the martyrs of the Christian faith as All Saints' Day, All Saints' Day celebrates those martyrs that are known to the Christian community and those who are not known, but they had been martyred for the Christian faith. And to celebrate, we're going to say a prayer. But before that, I want to bring out this book, which is this is Tacitus history, the Annals, Annals, Tacitus. He was a historian, and in this book, and this is the 1982 edition, he wrote actually in Latin. He was a Roman historian. He was born just around 50 AD, the crucifixion being around 30 AD, and he eventually wrote this book. It's a history book, and in it, one of the earliest historical mentions of Jesus Christ in the written record. Now, I'm going to read that passage. It's amusing and it's appropriate for All Saints' Day because he writes about Jesus because there was a fire in Rome when Nero was emperor. This Nero was emperor after the time of Christ. But this fire, which some people blame Nero because they say, Nero was playing the fiddle while Rome was burning. And that's actually what happened. But the Christian movement was blamed for this fire. And it's right here in this book by Tacitus, the Roman historian, and I'm gonna read it just as it is. But all human efforts, all the lavish gifts of the emperor and the propitiousness of the gods did not banish the sinister belief that the conflagration, the fire, was the result of an order. When they say an order, they're talking about a religious order, a early Christian movement. Consequently, to get rid of the report, the accusation the fire was started by Christians, Nero fastened the guilt and inflicted the most exquisite tortures, crucifixion, on a class hated for their abominations, referring to homosexual activities, called Christians by the populace. Christus, for whom the name had its origin, suffered the extreme penalty during the reign of Tiberius at the hands of one of our procurators, Pontius Pilate, and a most mischievous superstition just checked for the moment again broke out not only in Judea, the first source of the evil, but in Rome, where all things hideous and shameful from every part of the world find their center and become popular. Accordingly, an arrest was first made of all who pleaded guilty, then their information, and an immense multitude was convicted, not so much of the crime of firing the city as of hatred against mankind. Mockery of every sort was added to their deaths. Covered with the skins of beasts, they were torn by dogs and perished, or were nailed to crosses, or were doomed to the flames and burned, to serve as a nightly illumination when daylight had expired. And these were indeed Christian martyrs from the days of Emperor Nero, here from the book by Tacitus, giving us a record not only of those saints, those martyrs, but an early record of Jesus himself, his name, Christus, being mentioned in this passage by Tacitus. We move on now to a common prayer. And I did refer to the Book of Common Prayer to select a prayer for this All Saints' Day. And I'll mention that All Saints' Day is observed throughout the year on different days by different denominations. The majority of people do celebrate on November 1st, but other churches and other denominations, they do celebrate All Saints' Day throughout the year. And this is a well-known passage here from Ecclesiastes, or Book of Wisdom, chapter 3. For everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to break down, a time to build up, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to tear and a time to sow, a time to silence, keep silence, and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. What gain has the worker from his toil? I have seen the business that God has given to the children of man to be busy with. He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done from the beginning to the end. I perceive that there is nothing better for them than to be joyful and to do good as long as they live. Also, that everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil. This is God's gift to man. Amen. And this is from the Holy Bible, Ecclesiastes. Now, I welcome everyone to learn more about Earth Faith. I don't like to brag about people, names of people who have found interest in this denomination. I do have about 100 books published that you can find on Amazon.com, Lulu.com, and other outlets, Barnes & Noble, etc., etc. Half of my books are directly faith-related books. My name is Samir Gradia. I go by the stage name Earth Faith, and I have over 100 songs as well available on all your major music outlets. Saying a prayer for All Saints' Day. Signing off.